Hi, welcome to Illuminated Tarot. My name is Jenna. Today I'm here to do a collective weekly reading for the week of January 6th through the 12th. Well, you all, we have a lot to discuss with the energies that we could be moving through. First, I want to talk about Mars in retrograde. It is entering the sign of Cancer today. Now, I have a mother who is Cancer Gemini cusp, and she will appreciate what I'm about to say. Cancer is a very intuitive, emotional embodiment. So it also associates with our past. So my mother's very nostalgic, and I grew up with this notion that our emotions matter, what we feel matters. I was a sensitive child, and she was very unconditionally loving towards that part of me, and I'm really grateful that I had her. So we may be looking at the way we mother others, the way we care for ourselves, mother ourselves. But collectively, when we talk about Cancer and Mars in retrograde, it's about connecting us to our past, our childhood, our families, our very roots, our foundational emotional needs. And it's going to be quite introspective starting today through the rest of the week. Our emotions could take center stage. We could be feeling more sensitive. Old wounds may come up. Old hooks from the past may resurface. It's really going to be asking us to consider how we are moving forward, trusting our feelings versus how much are we going to be operating from the logic of the mind. Okay, so that's why we're going to go from this emotional embodiment, trusting in what we're feeling and sensing, or are we going to be overanalyzing in hyper analysis mode? So that's one aspect that's coming up this week that's starting today. And I could talk about lots of aspects, but the biggest thing, especially being Libra, and I'm very relieved to say this to Aries and Libra, we are now moving out of the nodals, the lunar nodes. Nodals. I don't think that's a word. I said lunar and nodes at the same time. Astrologers are probably laughing at me right now. The lunar nodes are shifting after an 18-month cycle, and they will not return again, with North Node being in Aries and South Node being in Libra for the next 18 years. And what we've been working on collectively throughout the last 18 months is this notion of how can we be leaders of our lives? That's the North Node, in Aries. And then collectively, the Libra and South Node is about our karmic patterns, how we relate to others, and how can we balance out both equally, right? Both receiving and giving. So it's funny how I said receiving first. A lot of you had to learn that lesson of, well, how do I want to receive? I'm really good at giving. A lot of people who follow me on this channel were such givers, light workers, people who are spiritually activated. You deserve to receive as well, and you need to hear that. So that's something I think you might have been looking at the last 18 months. So now we're entering a new cycle. What does that mean? Goodbye, Aries and Libra, with the lunar nodes. And now we're moving in for the first time. I'm taking note of this since December. I wrote this down. Where is it? The first time since December 2007, okay, the destiny-driven Piscean North Node is going to take this beautiful voyage into the depths of the water. And this means we could have heightened synchronicities, channeling intuition. We're going to be compelled to be trusting our intuition more. We're going to be connecting more to our spiritual natures. This could trigger a global spiritual awakening, right? The veil is going to be very thin during this 18-month transit. So it's going to be collectively pushing us to consider our spirituality more. And also, are we operating from our, I think I want to rename this. We have our GPS system, right? And now we're going to be looking at our spiritual position system. Are we staying present? Are we in heart coherence? The opposite side of this lunar, which we need to note, of this Piscean, right, voyage of discovery through the spiritual depths and our emotional intuition is Virgo. So what we're actually having to counteract this, practicalities, let's stay in reality, let's not too far ahead of ourselves. But it's also going to be about reviewing and examining how we are self-critical, how we tend to be perfectionists, how we hyper-analyze our decisions. So really we're moving into a new 18-month cycle where we're going to try to balance both of those spheres, where it's a healthy, right, aspect of not being hyper-analytical, but also not be totally in the depths of your emotions that you're like churning, right, emotionally. So it's going to be interesting navigating the next 18 months, but overall, what it's going to compel us to do is stay centered, right? And whenever we're faced with a decision, this is what I'm going to ask of you, because you're going to be faced with important decisions during this time. Especially this week, you're going to start feeling a shift in these energies, where do you want to come from fear, from ego, from selfishness, or do you want to come from unity, compassion, love, joy, presence, heart coherence? So you know when you're operating from the heart, when you make decisions that make you feel better, more relaxed, more at peace. So we're going to be tested. Okay, and I'm laughing because I have to lighten the energy here. It doesn't seem like this is actually beautiful. It's quite beautiful to be going into these nodal shifts that will take center stage and almost like be feeding, think of it as a layer that we are going to be moving through. And for those of us who've done a lot of spiritual work and we know what it's like, right? When you start tuning into the vibration of other people, especially through your heart coherence, you can sense who they are, where they're coming from, and whether they're healthy for you or not. So consider that, okay? Trust what you feel, but also marry it a little bit with your analytical mind so you stay grounded, all right, in that knowing. So that's all the astrology. Based on this, I wanted to read a passage instead of all of the, the blurbs. Sometimes I just pull up different quotes, but I wanted to talk about sensitivity as we are moving into this more watery world. I think too, we're hitting a full moon in Cancer right after this week. I think the 13th and 14th, which at the same time, we're going to have 5 planets in water. So y'all, we're going to get your snorkel out, get your snorkel and your fins out. We're taking a deep dive into our emotional centers. And we're going to be visiting a lot of creatures in the sea, old creatures, new creatures. And it's very Neptunian. It's a very Neptunian time. So I thought, why not? I think we'll end it here. This is the 3rd week I'm reading from the Prophetess, but I wanted to see what she had to say about sensitivity, which I thought was really interesting. As I was looking at this astrology, I was like, let's see what the Prophetess has to say about sensitivity, because that's our water element. It makes us finely attuned to the energies of others. And these are going to be skill sets that are going to be very important in this next 18-month cycle as the veil is thinning. So I think we could really be experiencing some really amazing shifts, especially to take note of this as well around our healing, collective healing and individual healing on a cellular level, on a spiritual level, where we're healing old stuff, ancestral wounds, childhood wounds, any kind of traumas, all that needs to be said. It's all the main focal point for the next 18 months is really going to center around our healing. All right. And how can we exercise greater compassion for others and for ourselves? All right. So let's read about sensitivity. Speak to us of sensitivity, and the prophetess spoke. I'm giving y'all so much permission. I want you to really lean into these words. No one has ever been too sensitive. The sensitive are frontiers people of feeling, and sensitivity is where our power lives. The human spirit is sensitive. To be a sensitive person is to be attuned to the needs for its flourishing. The sensitive ones are those who are brave enough to diagnose and call out this terrible malady of being so far from our hearts. They are those warriors for whom to live lives contrary to the needs of the human spirit is an anguish, and in that they are called to be creators of a new way. We have crucified the sensitive for they see beyond the reaches of the veiled confines fear has placed on our vision. We have called the sensitive inconveniences to the mindless motions of our lives, conducted by our historical unwillingness to feel. To be sensitive does not mean to be moody, sullen, or easily wounded. It means you are a great translator of truth. I need you to hear that. To be sensitive means you are a great translator of truth. It means you are a golden carrier of medicine for the parts of the world that have grown numb. It means you know we are here for love, and you rightly feel the agony of our society's distance from this truth. For the sensitive, the falsity of maintaining a facade can be unbearable. The sensitive are those who are especially equipped for the journey into the heart of intimacy, where they can kiss the tender lips of God and come back to share these love secrets with the world. Man, I just love the prophetess. The sensitive navigate the dissonance between life's messages and the messages of our society, and are here to close that gap. Unresolved pain calluses our sensitivity to the majesty of the finer brushstrokes of life. Dear, wise, sensitive ones, don't be so quick to pathologize yourself. Don't be so quick to pathologize yourself. I don't think I've ever even said that word. How beautiful that your body speaks up so clearly as a barometer for truth, love, health, and safety, and makes such a wild protest in their absence. Why is it that so often the sensitive ones are the poets, the artists? Because, my dear, they are the ones tuned in enough to hear the universe. So hear the universe loud and clearly. It's coming, all right? This 18-month cycle. Oh, my goodness. I just thought that was so perfect for the astrology that we're swimming in, literally. And on that note, we are going to discuss with the Oracle. I've never read from this deck here. I've had it for a while. It's Rebecca Campbell, The Healing Waters. She does a lot of different decks. One that I work with is the Starseed Oracle deck, but I've never pulled from this for you all. I've done it for myself, but we're going to see what comes out. Let's call Spirit in. I'll leave these on because I want to see the images. Thank you, Spirit, for presiding over this reading for the collective. Okay, let's see what's going on, and then we're going to get into the tarot. What's going on? The healing waters. Let us bathe in these healing waters, compelling us to trust our intuition, to connect with our spiritual nature and what needs healing. What needs healing? Ask yourself that. Remind yourself of your GPS settings, your SPS settings. Yeah. That one didn't want to let go of the water and surface. That might be a tough one. We'll see what that one says. Sorry, that hit the mic. Birth mysteries. Why are you being called to create? Okay, let me look at these. Something is being birthed this week for a lot of us. You're being called to create something, whether it's the birth of a new dream, the birth of a new pathway, a new timeline. It's the birth of a new timeline. Sorry if I'm being loud. The birth of a new timeline, it's in its infancy. Look at that. And it's being safely held and protected. You've been putting all of your energy into something you didn't even know was going to be made manifest. What are you being called to create? Step one. What are you being called to create? It's the very beginning of something new this week. And then how are you going to nurture that? How are you going to nurture that womb, that egg, that genesis, that new creation of yours? What are you bringing into the world through your emotional body? Consistency, persistence, patience, the long game. So there's something that a lot of us are birthing this week that's going to be maybe part of this 18-month cycle of deepening, right, into your emotional body and your spiritual body. So we have birth mysteries. What are you birthing? It's maybe a bit of a mystery. Wow, I didn't know this was going to happen. This timeline was going to come forward. Let's be gentle with this. Let's not force things. Let's not push an agenda, right? Let's not get into hyper-analysis or perfectionism or criticism on the path while we create. The next one is she who flows, right? Being in the flow and the rhythm. It's funny, I don't know why, but on the way to take my daughter to school this morning, that Katy Perry, and don't knock her, I don't know why, but this song, it just gets me going. It's because it's like my daughter's going back to school after break, and it's like, let's get back into the rhythm. And this is the day where we're like, okay, back into the routine. Let's get back into the old familiar rhythm after the holidays, right? The post-holiday blues for some people. Or maybe you feel lifted from that. I felt kind of relieved because there's a lot of pressure around the holidays. She who flows, ease, being open to change, go with the flow of life. All right. So as you're birthing these new dreams, these new timelines, be gentle, be persistent, be patient. Take the long game here, approach in your mind, and flow with it. Just flow, let go and flow. Let go and flow with ease. Be open to the changes that it's about trusting what you feel, right? This week, just trust what you feel, and you'll know you're heading in the right direction because you'll feel better if you go towards that feeling, right? Or if you go towards a feeling that doesn't feel good, listen, right? Especially how you feel around other people and other projects and other things that you're especially initiating this week. So we have birth mysteries, gentle force, she who flows, and metamorphosis. Embrace transformation. Things are now different. Yes, they are, my dears. We're moving. These nodal axes are so big. This is our moon energy. It's our emotions. And so, I mean, it's an utter transformation in maybe how we perceive others, how we perceive our path, how we perceive what we want to create, what we want to build. It's capitalize on your sensitivity, on your emotions, and trust what you feel, okay? I can't emphasize that more strongly. We're going to put these up here, and you can see what flows through. So be intentional with what you feel this week. A lot of blues, a little pinks, right? A softening. There's a softening in the collective. I'm going to bring that forward, okay? Might be hard to see, but it's just very gentle. Be gentle with yourself and with others. All right, let's go into the tarot. I'm going to pull here. We're going to do the light seers. Let's pull the light seers and see what's happening. I'm going to take my glasses off because I don't think I need them. Whew. Also, thank you for tuning in week after week. Happy New Year to all of you tuning in. I'm excited for the journey ahead. 2025. Yeah, it feels good. It feels, just go with the water. Go with the current. That spirit that the universe wants to carry you in. It's funny too. I think that sometimes biggest things I've realized lately is dreams can come true when you least expect it. And the universe has a much higher plan than you could possibly understand. Because I'm reading that Let Them theory book by Mel Robbins. And it really is two things I've learned lately. I never read the 5-second rule, but it's good because I'm an air sign. I get into my head a lot and I start analyzing and I start projecting and predicting the future because we humans have this innate hardwired to want to control, and it's so unconscious. I sat there and I was like, well, this could happen, that could happen. Should I do this? Should I do that? Right? We all do it. And so, number one, when you start feeling like you're going into a mental spiral about anything in your life, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I'm like, oh, stepping out of it. It's a really good technique, actually. You just count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you kind of snap out of it. And then, in addition to that, if someone's doing something outside of you that you don't like, chances are you're not going to control them, and whatever control you exert on the situation is going to upset them. So let them. I mean, it really is very freeing. I recommend that book too, by the way. So let's get into the tarot. Just a side note. Let them. It's so freeing. Drivers want to be slow? Let them, right? People aren't doing their work around you at work? Let them. And then the other part is let me, right? Gives you permission to focus on you, not the other. All right, let's get into the tarot for the week ahead, Spirit. There we go. I knew it. 8 of Cups. I love this card in the 8 of Cups in this deck because I don't know if you can see it here. I'll lean in. You see those cups? There's 7 cups that are in the water. This Aries Libra lunar nodal axis. Let go. Let go. It's time to lay the past to rest. All the karmic patterns, all of the things you were working out in your relationship. Some of you had tying up karmic loose ends with people, saying goodbye to people, friends, exes, family members, making peace with the past. That's the 8 of Cups. And the other coin, the other flip side of this, as you release, 2 things happen at once. You let go of the past. You let it sink into the waters. You let the ocean cleanse it, right? When you go to the ocean, releases those negative ions, right? You can't go beside the sea and hear those waves, those gentle stirrings. I was thinking of Moby Dick the other day. That soul beneath the water. When you release that, there above all of that subterranean world is the light of a new dawn. So not only are we releasing this past axis, that we'll never see, we're not going to see the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra for 18 years. It's pretty big, guys. Pretty big. So what's coming up over the horizon as we release the past? What's next, Spirit? These 2. No, it's 1. I told you. New timeline. New timeline. Making sure. Yeah. What are you giving birth to? What is in its infancy? Be patient. See the long term, right? What begins as a planted seed. This person, look at how carefully they're holding this seed, dirty hands. And look at, when you first plant a seed and you give it time, and you know how exciting it is when you see those first little offshoots? Some of you are getting your seeds ready and getting your gardens ready and thinking about, what you're going to plant. Others of you are in full bloom down under. I'll tell you what, it's like, handle it with care. Whatever you're planting right now, it needs a gentle approach. And it's okay. Get your hands dirty, right? Get your hands dirty. Oh my goodness. Heart coherence. Heart coherence. Whatever it is that you're planting, do it with heart. Do it with soul. Do it with the beautiful sensitivity that you possess. Feel. This is awakening all the feelers of the world. And it's awakening the people who have suppressed their emotions, suppressed what they feel. This is also the mothering of the world, the mothering of the people in our lives, the people we love and care for. Don't let a day go by without telling them how you feel. I love that. 9 of Pentacles at the bottom. Emotional autonomy, but also this beautiful... It's like sink into your sovereign individuality, but keep your heart open. Keep your heart open with what this new journey is. All right, I want to clarify. I really want to clarify the Queen of Cups. I mean, she is water. She's water. She's in her emotions. Goodness me. Sorry. It's very hard for me to have 4 cards here. Just want to make sure they're not crooked. Wow. Aquarian. There's Pluto. Say, wait a minute. Let me speak up over here. Pluto just came into the room. Let's talk about, the Aquarius energy. It's big. This is like holding that higher vision. This is the high timeline and grounding it in the 3D reality. 4 of Wands, rites of passages. This is a rite of passage around our collective destiny. Around living from and operating from the heart, people, in love with the world and with our lives. Sorry if I'm yelling. I get a little passionate, right? That's why I'm seeing this too. Be passionate. You don't need to apologize for that. Let's clarify this Queen of Cups. Open your heart. I know it's hard. It's hard though. Jenna, you don't understand. This world is effed up. I understand it's hard. It's very hard to keep your heart open. But you can do it. I believe you can. There's so much growth there. Look at all the times in your past where you actually trusted your feelings and all the times when you actually shut them down. You know exactly the difference. So you have a choice now this week. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Wow. It's like lay. It's like I feel the prophetess coming forward. She's like, lay your burdens to rest, dear ones. Celebrate this victory, this milestone. You're in a brand new beginning. Remember your innocence. The thing too, I was thinking about children. Like, it's not the childhood really necessarily of being a child. It's children are present. They're so present in every moment. Every moment you witness their experience of life when they're little, they're so right here, right now. They're not thinking about everything that happened to them. They're not worried about everything that could happen. They're right in the present moment. And that's where the magic lives. So I think that that's what they're saying. Celebrate the magic of the moment and be present in your experiences. And keep your heart open and go with the flow and see what happens. You might actually be very surprised. That's what this feels like. It feels very expansive. There's people are rising to this new level of operating from the heart and innocence of a new beginning. Like, let's not go into a new timeline jaded, right? Feeling like we got a chip on our shoulder, that life is hard, that we're victims of circumstance. This is about saying, you know what? Hey, sorry for my French, but bad stuff, I won't even say, I don't want to cuss. Bad stuff happens, right? It's a part of our lives. Suffering, tragedy, grief. We're going to move through those states. That's the thing about water. It keeps moving. It keeps moving. Nothing stays the same. So I think that's good for the tarot portion. Stay open. We have a strong influence of leaving Aries and Libra, as hard as it's been. This is also claim your victory over your karmic patterns and what you've learned, the lessons that you've learned. Honor them, bow to them, bow to the part of you that said, you know what, I'm going to go deep into this crap. I don't want to repeat this crap anymore. Like, let's just deal with it. And a lot of us did. And we successfully released it. And now we're calling in what's meant for us, what's truly in alignment with our collective destinies. It's big. It's big, you all. It's kind of exciting. It's kind of exciting. So the Fool is skipping in. Smelling those roses, right? Smell those roses. All right. Now I want to get some advice. I don't want to forget that, you all. Let's get some just clean advice from Spirit for the week ahead. What does Spirit have to say for the advice? Ten of Pentacles and the Magician. Yep. That's what Aries set us on. That how can we be leaders of our own lives? And how do we want to live a prosperous life? How do we want to thrive? What matters to you? It's all these things we've been simmering in, immersing ourselves in, swimming in. And now it's like, okay, so this first Ace of Pentacles, planting that seed, what do you want to nurture and grow? A lot of you know exactly what that is. So do it. That's the advice. That was the Fool and the Ten of Pentacles, just in the pre-shuffle there. Surface energy, what's deeper than that? What's a deeper advice, Spirit, for the collective? Deeper advice. Deeper advice. Two of Pentacles. Okay, we're juggling. We're juggling. Hold on, let me get this. Wow. Some of us are still, this is the past, this is nostalgia, this is childhood, right? This is our wounds when it comes to what we're learning. Some of us are still like, I feel like this week could be like that. I think too, I read that, and I sense that the Cancer full moon coming up a week from today is that you're going to feel that, okay, Put a cork in it. It's done. Let's set that bottle to sea, right? The message in the bottle is, I learned my karmic lessons and I value what I learned, all right? So some of us are still feeling the final throes of that this week. So they said, it's okay. It's okay if you're like, I'm not quite there yet, Jenna. This week there may be some high seas, right? You could feel like the ocean is churning a little bit in your life, and it's going to compel you to take a look at it and learn from it. Page of Swords, Two of Pentacles, Page of Swords. This is the card of our eagerness. You know, he's got the sword of truth, but he doesn't know what to do with it. It's like, okay, I kind of see the truth. Now let's apply it. So we're putting into practice new ways of operating, especially around our relationships, because this is how we relate. This person is giving almost like, it's like you could be even passing down to in your relationships in people even younger than you and teaching them. So this is a matter of taking that youthful spirit, that youthful optimism, and learning from whatever feels a little imbalanced in your life. So you can ground and become centered, because they're in a garden and they're full of all these emotions. All these cups surround them. And it's a spirit of giving and receiving here too as well. So he's giving her flowers, or she, however you want to, it doesn't matter the gender. They are exchanging flowers. So this exchange of energy, learn from your exchanges. Learn from both giving and receiving. And wherever it's off, imbalanced, learn it, look at it, be honest with yourself, be honest with how it makes you feel. That's your advice this week, okay? From Spirit. You now know the difference. I'm just curious. 6 of Cups, 5 of Cups, yeah. Some of us are still releasing sadness and grief around certain soul bonds. And that's okay. Be gentle with yourself, okay? All right. Now, let's go into Mark Nepo. Mark Nepo. Let's see what Mark has to say. This is going to be a bit of a longer one, which, you know what? It doesn't ever matter. It never matters, really, how long I go, does it? But thank you for being here. Today is January 6th. Let's talk about this. Mark Nepo, the Book of Awakening. I read from this every Monday. The spoked wheel. What we reach for may be different, but what makes us reach is the same. Imagine that each of us is a spoke in an infinite wheel, and though each spoke is essential in keeping the wheel whole, no two spokes are the same. The rim of that wheel is our living sense of community, family, and relationships. But the common hub, where all the spokes join, is the one center where our souls meet. So, as I move out into the world, I live out my uniqueness. But when I dare to look into my core, I come upon the one common center where all lives begin. In that center, we are one and the same. In this way, we live out the paradox of being both unique and the same. For mysteriously and powerfully, when I look deep enough into you, I find me. And when you dare to hear my fear in the recess of your heart, you recognize it as your secret that you thought no one else knew. And that unexpected wholeness that is more than each of us, but common to all, that moment of unity, is the atom of God. Not surprisingly, like most people in the first half of my life, I worked very hard to understand and strengthen my uniqueness. I worked hard to secure my place at the rim of the wheel, and so defined and valued myself by how different I was from everyone else. But in the second half of my life, I have been humbly brought to the center of that wheel, and now I marvel at the mysterious oneness of our spirit. Wow, and it's interesting how he even mentions cancer and grief, and how we are maybe moving through our collective grief through this really deep Mars retrograde in Cancer. Through cancer and grief and disappointment and unexpected turns in career, through the very breakdown and rearrangement of the things I've loved, I have come to realize that as water smooths stone, as water smooths stone and enters sand. You can't make this up. We're talking all about water. As water smooths stone and enters sand, we become each other. How could I be so slow? What I've always thought set me apart binds me to others. Never was this more clear to me than when I was sitting in a waiting room at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital in New York City, staring straight into this Hispanic woman's eyes, she into mine. In that moment, I began to accept that we all see the same wonder, all feel the same agony, though we all speak in a different voice. I know now that each being born, inconceivable as it seems, is another Adam or Eve. Sit with a trusted loved one and take turns. Name one defining trait of who you are that distinguishes you from others. Name one defining trait of who you are that you have in common with others. Discuss how you cope with the loneliness of what makes you unique from others, and how you cope with the experience of what makes you the same as others. Wow. So that was the spoked wheel. What we reach for may be different, but what makes us reach is the same. My goodness. Okay. Let's end this with some self-care. As our healing is going to be very important. What is going to nurture our souls? How can we walk more in our integrity? Okay, let's see. Self-care, Spirit. What do we most need this week? Affirmation. That one for sure. I feel like there's going to be 3. Yeah. Okay, or maybe 4. No? Okay. What some call rebellion, others call survival. What some call rebellion, others call survival. Shirley Fessel. As you awaken to yourself, look around. Recognize the beauty in ordinary things. So that's about presence. Okay. And appreciation, gratitude. When you recover or discover something that nourishes your soul and brings joy, care enough about yourself to make room for it in your life. Jean Shinoda Bolin. Take a time out this week and treat yourself to an energetic pick-me-up. That's about self-care, self-love, okay? You're healing. So whatever nourishes your soul and brings joy, make room for it in your life. And then the perfect man of old looked after himself first before looking to help others. I'm telling you, it's all about self-care. I feel like there's another one in there. I said look at the bottom of the deck too, because I know there's one more. Take some time to be outside this week. Breathe in the fresh air and breathe out the stresses of the day. Each day, if you can. Especially, I've been witnessing the Venus crescent moon. Oh. And the stars have been just so, I love the winter sky. However you can connect and commune with the natural world at whatever time of day, do it. Whether it's sunrise, sunset, evening sky, night sky. Watch the sun. Oh, I didn't even say that. Watch the sunset or reflect on the vastness of the universe as you stargaze. Oh my God. I was like feeling that before I read the sentence. Enjoy Mother Nature and all she has to offer. That's a big part of self-care and self-love for me, at least, too. I know a lot of you are just so in love with nature. I'll tell you a New Year's story. New Year's Eve, I was feeling melancholy, or melancholic, sad. I think it was because I was feeling, as a Libra, a lot of this karmic debris emotionally. And I knew I needed to cry. And sometimes this might appeal to some of you who have a difficult time with that. I grew up in a very strict background. I had this really sensitive, hyper-aware mother, but then I had this really strict father, military guy. And he wasn't in touch with his emotions. He's since evolved from that state. But I learned as a child that it was wrong to feel what I felt. And it really contradicted what I knew to be right. So it left me in this state of internal confusion. So whenever I have these feelings that bubble up and I know I need to cry, I actually, no, not today. That's inconvenient. Not right now, So I didn't know what to do with it. And I went out and I often do talk to trees, but this time I put my hand on an oak tree, an old growth oak on my walk. And the oak spoke to me, and the oak said, I want you to put on Elton John, your song, and I want you to listen to the lyrics as if I wrote that song for you. And I put that on. Luckily, I had my earbuds in, and because I often listen to podcasts and stuff like that, YouTube, when I walk, and I put the song in one ear and the other, and I heard birds, and I heard the wind, and I heard this song, and I walked, and every tree kept connecting, And I felt like, listen to that song, your song, as if the trees gifted it to you, or whatever part of nature you really, really connect with. It moved me. I cried. I cried throughout that walk, and I walked I walked longer than I normally do because I'm close to the sea, and I walked to the water's edge, and I sat on this levee surrounded by granite, and I grounded, and I saw swans, and I just felt so much better. So if you feel like you're emotional at any time this week and you like, no, not convenient, whatever you need to do to give yourself that gift to release what needs to be released, let the tears cleanse you. Let them purify your soul, right? Let Mother Nature carry it for you. I couldn't hold on to it. And I leaned against that tree, and that tree said, let me take this for you. I'm here for you. And I just was like, wow, I had forgotten that sometimes it's not even about other humans nurturing me. It's about the trees, the sea, the rocks, right? The stones. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that story with you. Now, that concludes our reading portion. For the reading, I wanted to just make a few quick announcements. I am still doing private readings. Everything's streamlined. I wanted to let you know, I'm afraid to announce this because I don't want a deluge of this. It's not something I can do a lot, but I am offering my 1-question reading and my 3-question reading at a discount for people that are financially strapped. I don't know how long I'll do it. It depends on how many requests I have. Basically, I have a form through my website in the description box because I really want to give back as this channel grows and as I stabilize financially. I always want to be generous with my services and what I can offer. So I'm offering those 2 services at a deeper discount for people in need. And be honest, please, with me. Be honest about whether you can afford my rates or not. And if it's really the right time for you to receive a reading from me. So for those of you who feel especially called to get a reading and you do not, and you can't because of money, I don't want that to be a reason why. It still will cost you something, but not as much, not nearly as much. So I just wanted to mention that. The form is in my tarot store. You will have to fill out the information, and then I will get back to you, okay? And please be patient with me as I started doing that just this week without even announcing it, and I'm getting a lot of requests. So what I may do is just take a certain amount of requests per month. Once I reach that cap, then I wait to announce it for the following month, okay? I might have to end up doing that. We'll see. I send so much love to all of you on this. I'm right beside you snorkeling, and I send you so much love. Namaste.